Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of KARE-ing Conversations. We are back at it. I am Rachel Hill, Creative Director here at Senior Living Foresight. And as you can see, I have my co-host with me, finally, Jordan Evans from KARE. We are so excited. We've got a fantastic episode. We're going to be speaking with our frontline heroes, hearing what's going on the ground, what they're facing, and I really think we're going to learn some valuable lessons from them. So, Jordan, I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do with KARE.
Hi everyone, so I am the program manager for their hero development team at KARE, and what that really means is I'm here to help our heroes wherever they need it. We are heroes. We help nurses find extra shifts and find that extra income that they need to find an extra job, and I'm here dedicated to help them be heard and help them find that next thing that they're looking for. So that's why I'm so excited for this opportunity for us to be able to have these conversations around the things that go that are against and for our
I feel like for you, you're going to be listening closely to what these ladies have to say to see how you can kind of dig deeper and really help them in your journey in the work.
The biggest thing I'm looking forward to. My background has been in recruiting and healthcare recruiting, and never have I seen an opportunity to hear from our care force, honestly. And I think of ourselves as cares like organization or care force, and that's like we're not an agency. We're definitely not here to gouge communities and just to pay. So we're here to advocate, and let's hope that we can do that today.
I love it. And you're like already foreshadowing like our misconceptions about what KARE does episode that I'm so ready to have down the road. But Jordan, I want to let the caregivers, I want to hear from them. I want to hear what they're talking about. So let's go ahead and bring them on and let them introduce themselves. I am very excited.
They're sitting in the wings. So we have Joyce Bell, who is out of Atlanta, and she's an LPN. We have also joining us Denisha Turner and Darlene Williams, who is also, all of these three ladies are LPNs out of Atlanta. They are wonderful heroes. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Fantastic. Why don't we start with you, Joyce, please?
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Joyce Bell. I am an LPN of 21 years. I am currently working as a staff nurse at Gwinnett Corrections Facility. I'm a night nurse there. I work there by myself. And I've also been working with KARE for about 1.5 years now. And I totally love it. KARE gives me a lot of flexibility. So I met some of these other heroes there, and so I'm excited about this episode, so let's get to it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And it looks like Darlene is having a little technical difficulties there, so we're going to be chatting with you for a little bit, Joyce, but actually real quick before do we have Denisha? Are you back?
I'm back.
Hi. Okay, we can move on. Please tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been working with KARE.
Okay, my name is Denisha Turner. I'm an LPN here in Georgia. I have been with KARE for 2.5, almost 3 years now. I mainly work in rehab and skilled facilities, long-term care.
Awesome. Fantastic. So my first question for you ladies is, I'm always curious. So my mom actually was a nurse in geriatrics for over 20 years. And we're going to get to Darlene here in 1 second if she can hear us. But ladies, I want to hear, let's start with you, Denisha. How did what made you want to get in this career field? To be honest, it's grueling. I watched my mom do it for years, and you have to have a lot of heart to do it. It's really fulfilling, but I want to know what sort of catapulted you in this direction.
Yes. Well, when I was in high school, my grandmother fell ill, and we had a lot of nurses coming in and out of the home, and they were basically teaching me and showing me what to do to care for my grandmother. So once she passed away, I took those skills that I've learned and I just started instilling them with other individuals, family members. So I treat everyone as though it's my grandmother. So I really love and have a strong compassion for nursing and the healthcare field.
Oh, I love that perspective of like treat our residents as if they were your family. They are your family.
Joyce, why? How about you? Why did you get into the field?
I have to say, mine is probably different than anybody ever have heard. I wanted to be a showgirl in Vegas.
These are unrelated fields. Tell me more.
I never wanted to be a nurse. It was not anything that I'd ever thought about being or doing. But I was in the Navy for about 6 years. And once I got out of the Navy, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. And people think that, oh, just because you joined the military, you already know. No, I was a postal clerk and I didn't want to go to the post office. I felt like that was for old people. What was I going to do? And I was led to nursing. I was led to nursing. It was by some divine intervention that sent me to the nursing school. I never thought that there would be something that I would ever do. And I passed with flying colors, and I've been a nurse for 21 years. Like, God led me there. The passion that I have for these clients is unbelievable. Sometimes I take it home with me. It's like, you shouldn't take it home. You should just leave it here. But it's not that easy when we're talking person to person and being relational with families and people, seeing their struggles, seeing their progress. All of it is something that you kind of embellish and you take it with you. These are human beings, and you kind of just want to care for them the way you would want to be cared for. And so it wasn't anything that I thought of, anything that I planned on doing. I've been led here, and I'm not allowed to leave. I think until I leave this earth, this is going to be what my mission is to serve.
I love that.
The
Yeah.
golden rule of caring. Care as you want to be cared for. That's great.
Absolutely. And you make this other interesting point of like, this isn't just a 9 to 5. You take this home with you. And I think that's a really important distinction to make. And I know, Jordan, you have a ton of questions for these ladies. I'm going to turn it over to you for a little bit here.
Not just a 9 to 5. That is definitely true. And in the spirit of it not just being a 9 to 5, COVID was our biggest thing to happen to our industry recently. Do you feel like, and I'm glad all three of you are on now for this question, do you feel like COVID changed everything for how you care and for how you're cared about by your place of work in the industry?
I don't think COVID has changed the way I care about the profession in itself. I do wish that it was different. I wish we had more nurses so we could provide our best care to the individuals that we care for. I wish we had more time to spend with the patients while they're suffering with COVID and just to give them that support. I'm sorry, what was your other question?
Well, that's just that, and we will build on that. I'd love to hear Joyce's answer to that question too.
Yeah, I think that COVID created, it drove a real wedge in nursing. So my care for the individual still remained the same. I think that the nature of it did not, with the facilities and supplies and the way COVID was, it didn't allow me to care for them the way I would like to. I was forced to follow certain policies and certain things, which meant then you only focus on this, not that.
Yeah.
The care for the individual still remained the same before and after, but then the focus was only on certain areas or certain things. And that was a struggle for me because at the end of the day, the person was still, these clients still need all of it. it wasn't just about, it just became about COVID. That was what the focus was. And it was very challenging. And Danisha and I know them well. We worked in some facilities together, and that was a common conversation amongst us where, you know, you were the nurse that you always was, but you didn't have the ability to care as a nurse. It almost became something that was robotic, and that would hurt sometimes. When I went home, you wondered, well, what did I do? I came in to work for an 8-hour, 12-hour shift, and I don't even know what I did. What happened? COVID nursing, as a COVID nurse, made me feel different. Although I'm still the same nurse that I am, I think how I was allowed to care for individuals is what was changed and what was different.
So I want to dig into that a little bit. I find that really interesting. So are you saying during COVID, like, was it more of a focus, you know, on procedure? This has to be done a certain way, and safety protocols and things like that, as opposed to being able to put your heart into what you're doing? You know, as someone who's an industry outsider, I'd love for you to elaborate on that.
Okay, so I'll give a good example. Okay, the time that was spent. Okay, so on an average, when you come in, you have a client that literally you need to probably do their vital signs. You probably need to make sure that they ate well, that they got changed, that all of these, you know, physical therapy, different situations needed to happen for them. Because of COVID, a lot of those were already dismissed. So now we're just focused on what is their blood pressure, well, not even the blood pressure. Let's just worry about their temperature. Do they have a temperature? Do they have a fever? If they don't have a fever, and if they do, we're going to put them in this. And if they don't, it was just a structure that was specific to COVID. It wasn't necessarily about their wound care. It wasn't necessarily on whether they got a bath today. It wasn't necessarily about, it was more, you know, COVID. And that was what was challenging. Of course, with that, you have CNAs that you need to support you in what it is that you're doing. And they were also having challenges. Some of them had family members that were sick, that were not doing well, and so they couldn't make it to work. And so you just didn't have the support staff that you needed to get some of these things that were priority done.
Yeah, so you're focusing on one piece of the puzzle instead of putting the whole thing together.
The whole thing. And it wasn't, it just did not come together for a lot of places. And that was pretty frustrating. Wound care, medication delivery, not getting the meds because, you know, for whatever reason, you know, supplies were low and coming. Maybe they didn't have enough people to bring the medicine or to bring the supplies that you needed. And so processes that normally would be in place that they were before COVID didn't exist or were non-existent.
And in the idea of one of the things that we've been talking about in our last episode was a culture of respect. And COVID hit and no one knew what to do. COVID hit and everything was shut down, and no one who already had residents to care for, who had patients, like, shut down. No one knew what to do. And we were all waiting for the CDC to tell us guidelines on what we need to do as far as caring for residents, what is best practice. And then everyone's clinical arm and ops arm just came together and said, all right, we're going to do these things just because we've done infection prevention. We've done this, we've done that. And do you feel like you were included in the conversation? Joyce.
Oh, me. Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think that if we were allowed that half the times, now I have to say this, I had one facility where when it hit, it was like, oh, we got the first person that has COVID and we got the second. And I said, hey, okay, I was working for KARE at the time. I said, hey, I volunteered to be in the process of getting it put together. And I promise I did the work. Okay, which meant looking at everything from top to bottom, supplies, what we would need, how we need to care for these individuals, what they're going to eat, how they're going to drink, all of these things that were necessary, bathing, getting them cleaned, and all of the things that were within my power as a nurse to make sure that they were going to get them done. In those other situations where they just decided what it was going to be, I didn't think that it was fair, because the persons that are on the ground that are actually putting their hands on it, we're looking like, how is this supposed to be done? Like, how? Like, who came up with this?
I feel like a lot of people ask that question, like, who came up with this?
This isn't realistic.
So,
right.
And I want to ask Denisha, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to ask you both this question, and it's just a simple yes or no question. With how we address COVID with procedure and policy, did you feel respected in how we addressed the crisis?
You said it was a yes or no?
Yeah.
No.
I was hoping to elaborate, but yeah.
So I wanna move past COVID, because to everyone's benefit, no one knew what to do. It was a pandemic for a reason. It's an emergency. It's a crisis, and now we are 2 years into the pandemic. And I say we're 2 years into the pandemic because the pandemic isn't over. We still have COVID is still a problem.
Right.
And people constantly are having conversations like, COVID's over. No, COVID is still very much a problem. And so the question remains, do you feel respected in how we are continuing to address the pandemic, and we're addressing all of these other issues that have come about because of the pandemic, or that we had really before, like staffing issues, and making sure that we have communications about residents' family and residents, all the people around the residents. Do you feel respected now?
I'm gonna say no, because I don't think nothing has really changed.
Tell me more.
I just feel that it's just a number scheme. People just, I don't know how to word it. They didn't know what to do before, and I feel like now they're just making things up as they go along. Well, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't work. And then they're moving about it like that when we're still suffering at the end of the day.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, I want to know what you're struggling with, though. I want to drill down on that. Like, what do you mean when you say you're still suffering? Denisha or Joyce, please.
Well, if I could just answer before Denisha, just for a pin, so then we could probably answer the second part together. I was going to say yes and no. Yes, in the respect that I have had in some instances where now the facilities or the agency is concerned with, okay, what is your viewpoint on it? What do you think we could do differently? And I've seen where they're actually asking, instead of, just telling you, okay, we're going to do this and that. Like, do you think this would be a better process for us to put in place here? Like, for example, at the jail, which I was very hesitant to go into. It was just, let me see. I've been 21 years. I've never, worked in the jail facility, but it's a very closed community. And that would be something to really, be mindful of. Like, listen, there's no windows in here. There's no way. Everything is circulating right in here. So what are we going to be doing differently, especially to make sure? And fortunately, they didn't have a whole lot of outbreaks or anything like that in there. But just, the hand washing, the processes that literally they're like lines. We only let a certain amount at a time, which wasn't before. And everybody wears a mask no matter what, like in every medical space or place that you're in. And just how it is that we do the care with them is just slightly a little bit different, or than how it was. Like, I go to the dorms instead of them coming to medical, and then so in certain facilities, they may ask, what do you think is best, or what is a little bit, a better procedure or process. And I know sometimes we even look at each other like, okay, are you kidding me? Is that what we're doing? We're cross-contaminating here. Is that the plan? You just have one nurse, so you want us to go over here, take care of these COVID patients, and then come over here and do these because there is no nurse. And now we're walking in between the two. You have some diabetics over here, you have some over here. You didn't, that's what we're doing. So that's the no part to, realistically going into a facility and be like, okay, well, you're the nurse. Okay, so we have COVID and we have this side, and then you actually have both sides. So yeah. Okay.
That's shocking. And I see Darlene, and you're both shaking your head. Darlene, you have some thoughts? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys now. But she is right, because now they think COVID is the flu. It's COVID. It's nothing now. Go over there. One facility told me to go outside and go through the air and come back in through another door, as if that air was going to clean me. I mean, if you work in nursing, they didn't give me no lights or they didn't spray. They told me the air would clear me and go through another door. I didn't understand the concept of it, but they said COVID is like the flu now. Don't even worry about it. Everybody's vaccinated. So they're taking it like nonchalant. Like,
that's some magical air.
Yes.
Wow.
So one thing you mentioned earlier, Joyce, was a lack of nurses, or I think it's Anisha. Either way, it's all been said. We need help. It's you got 40, you got a whole floor of residents, and you have one nurse doing med passes and checking vitals, and the expectation is you get that all done in your shift. Has anyone asked you? I mean, I don't want to ask you how you think we should get this done, but has anyone asked you how we should get this, how we should, address these changes, address these problems? Has anyone asked you this?
No, of course not. They tell you what it's going to be. One nurse to 45 residents is just not right. And then overnight, we're just going to add 45 more. So, and for one nurse is not right. So, how we get through it is, trying to recruit other nurses, and other nurses like yourself, not just other nurses that just want to come in and literally just collect a paycheck, because there are those nurses also. And that's unfortunate, because when you work with them, you feel let down, you feel disappointed, you feel it's almost depressing, because you have another hero or another nurse, another person that has the same skill set or should have it, and you want them to be able to function in that same capacity. And when you don't have it, you really feel left alone. Emergencies arise, they come up, and you want to know that you have this person in your corner that is willing to jump in. I mean, I love Darlene and Donisha. We work together on some of these places, and it is a joy when you come in. Although your load is heavy, her load is heavy, the other person's load is heavy, but if this goes down, this nurse is going to be there for me. And Darlene will stop what she's doing. I will stop what I'm doing. I hear something going on over there, I'm going to come over there. Okay, what's going on? How can I help? What are we going to do here to get this person together so that we can get back on track to what it is we need to be doing?
Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And I think it's just about maybe recruiting, other individuals like ourselves who are really committed to making a difference in these people's lives. I mean, some of them are suffering. I've gone into situations where outside of COVID, like the person is literally drowning in their fluids, literally, I know this, you know it. And how did you miss this all day? How did you miss this? Did you didn't? And I feel like if I didn't come on that shift, clearly that would be their demise. Yes, that person expired later on, 2 or 3 weeks later, but on that day, it didn't die that day.
Do you feel like, Darlene, what do you think? Before I ask another question.
Well, I believe Joyce is, but you know what I love about Joyce? She takes it to heart. She didn't come in this field to nilly-gally and to just get her check. When she walked through the door, she walks through the door prepared. I mean, if you become a nurse, you do it. Most of the people do it from their heart. because I mean, this could be your mother, this could be your grandmother. That's the first thing. I'm introduced by Darlene Williams, LPN. I was first a CNA for 12 years, and the first thing the lady told me, I was from New York. The first thing she told me is treat each resident as if it was your parent or your mother. And they tell you, my mother ain't deserved nothing but the best. So that's how I see it. You don't give this person nothing but your 110%. Because this is someone's mother. It might not be your mother. This is someone's mother. So I can't walk in there and say, oh, I'm gonna have to you or have give you your medication. I'm not gonna do that. That's not even me. Because this is someone's parent. Someone could not take the time to, they had to go to work or whatever, so they put their parent in your hand. They don't want you not to feed them. They don't want you not to clothe. They don't want you not to give them care. I mean, it's heartbreaking because some people walk in and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do my 7 to 3. I'm gonna get through it. But when you walk into someone's room, you know how they light up when they see you, especially if you're one of their regular nurses. They, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. They're ready to hug and kiss and thing because they know that they're gonna get the best care they can. That's why I love
Darlene,
I
gotta show this picture. You have
Go ahead, girl. Which one?
so much personality. Let's switch our view here so that everybody can see it.
Girl.
Oh, hang on. Actually,
You see that pretty picture?
There
Yeah, look at that sexy picture. Girl,
Well,
I had so much fun. They gave me drinks and what I partied. I can't love them some Darlene.
Oh my God. Wait, hold on. Quick side note. Let's talk about that event that you were at and how KARE showed up for you and took care of you.
They
Tell us
showed
a
up
little
and they
about
showed
that.
out. Yeah,
I don't want to hear about it.
Oh yeah, Joyce wasn't able to get in. She had
I'm
to work.
sorry,
But
Joyce.
don't
I
worry.
was working.
Did I not bring y'all souvenirs? KARE brought all these souvenirs, and the nice lady said, if by 8 o'clock nobody take the souvenirs, I can take them to my friend. Charlie put a blanket over that, and I grabbed up all them souvenirs at 8 o'clock. I went to the facility, and I was giving them out like candy. They gave
Bryant McCannon says, "Love it, Darlene."
What? I tell you, I'm a 10. They gave drinks, they gave games. Oh, they did show out. Don't worry, I'll be there next year. I've been working for KARE for 3 years. When y'all have the next one next year, I'm gonna come to that one. I was gonna come down to Detroit to go to that one, but I couldn't get a ticket. I don't even live in Detroit, but I love the event. But yeah, you see how Joyce and Danisha smile? Those my girls. They love some Darlene. Look at her.
I feel like this helps you guys cope during this difficult time too, though. This camaraderie that you guys have, really pulling each other through this.
Yeah.
have you gotten this have you, first of all, I want to ask, have any of you ever worked in a staffing agency before?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is KARE a staffing agency?
Yes, it is. It's one of the best.
Yeah. And I have to say one thing about KARE. It's almost something that it's actually funny. Well, yeah, you could walk in the building and you go like, okay, KARE in the house. Like everybody.
Who don't know KARE, right?
Oh yeah. KARE in the house.
Popular.
And it was a saying that KARE is keeping these doors open. Okay. Okay.
Is this like any other, like for the people out there that are working in the viewers of Senior Living Foresight, is this like any other agency that you've been in?
For me.
Go ahead, Darnisha.
Oh no, that was me.
Oh,
I don't think
recognize
KARE
my
is
voice.
like any other staffing agency. I think KARE is more like a community because we all know.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's crazy. I don't like them like that, but you can't help it.
Well, it's good to know that. I love that. I appreciate that. Because we say we're not a staffing agency and people say, well, you provide staffing, but we're not a staffing agency because we don't try to be a staffing agency. We aren't a staffing agency also, but we want to be a community. We want to be there for you. And
Jordan, I love that because I feel like that's a huge thing that sets KARE apart, right? Like understanding, Joyce and Darlene, you are people. You are not a commodity. You're not just there to show up and be a robot. And actually, we're getting close to coming up on time here, but you bring up such an interesting point about what sets KARE apart. I want to play this quick video talking about really how KARE allows flexibility, because you're not just nurses, your moms, your daughters, you have lives outside of your work. So let's go ahead and run that video.
I'm a CNA and I'm also a realtor. Here, I'm also a mom of a 1-year-old. So is the flexibility, like the option to just work different shifts, because there are sometimes I don't have childcare during the day. So, you know, I can just work overnight. Sometimes I can do a 3 to 11 if she's with her grandmother or something. And, you know, now she's in daycare, so I could do morning shifts. So mostly I would say the flexibility. When you come in, you know, you just feel like you're saving the day. Like, oh, you with KARE? Oh my God, we were waiting for you. So, you know, it's a great feeling, but mostly the flexibility. That's what I love about KARE. And, you know, all the facilities that I've worked at so far, they're so welcoming, they're amazing, and they're very informative. You learn so much, you know, just being at different facilities.
I love that. I saw you guys smiling, watching that. Before we wrap up here, guys, you know, Jordan, I want to turn it over to you if you have any more questions for these ladies, and you know, and then I want to leave you three with the last word. You know, this is why we're doing this, to hear from you all. So
we got many more episodes for me to talk. I just want to say thank you. It is. We hope to have more episodes where we can hear from our KARE force, and you are a force to be reckoned with. The fact that you show up every day and sometimes work 60, 50, you know, definitely more than 40, 60, 70 hours a week, just for residents, strangers, just means the world to family members of residents all across the industry. But yeah, definitely give us your last thoughts.
Yeah, what's one thing, Joyce, and then Darlene, that you would want our audience to walk away hearing from you guys? What's an important lesson that you'd want them to walk away with today?
Well, know that KARE is a community of nurses or caregivers, and we do it because we care, literally. I know personally for me, and that if you have a family member that's in any of those facilities, that is a KARE person that comes in, you know you're going to get the best treatment.
Right, girl. Can't even lie.
I love it. And what about you, Darlene? What's one thing you would want our audience to walk away with today?
You know what? My biggest thing is treat people the way you would want to be treated. That's my biggest thing. Don't come in here and you see my legs are ashy. You don't put no lotion on me, or you don't give me any deodorant, or you don't want to bathe me. Treat people how if you put yourself in someone else's shoes, you would live so much better. That's what my mom always taught me. Put yourself in someone else's shoes, and that's exactly what KARE does. They put me in these nice shoes. I love them. Girl.
That's the perfect note to end on.
Look at that shirt.
I know. Well, I wore mine today too, even though I'm foresight, because I was talking with y'all. It was so important to me. So
yes, I made
that's
sure
a perfect,
yes,
a perfect note to end on. Jordan, thank you. I know you're going to be joining me every Wednesday. We're going to be here. Ladies, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for your energy and everything that you brought to the table today. So I'm going to go ahead and sign us off, and we will see you all next Wednesday. So thank you.